Hello, welcome to outer space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of Commander Alyssa. I am Commander Alyssa because off screen I was promoted to First Officer, even though the last time you saw me I wasn't even allowed in Starfleet. Yes, that is a reference to a certain character that I will talk about later on in this video. So this is my preview for Star Trek 2023. Even though I'm not 100% that all the Star Trek shows will be on in 2023, Prodigy is a little iffy, but I'm just going to pretend that they all are coming on in 2023, and I'm going to go through all 5 of them with a particular emphasis on Star Trek Picard Season 3, because as of the date that this video is published, we're less than a week away from the release of Star Trek Picard Season 3, and we have a lot of information on it. We have a couple of trailers. We had a new one just released a couple weeks ago. So we know a lot more about Picard than any of the other shows. And it's coming on in less than a week, and I'm going to be doing weekly reviews for it. So I have a lot to say about Picard. The other 4 shows going to be speculation mostly, so I have less to say about those. If you only want to watch me talk about one particular show, I will put the timestamp in the description below for each of the shows that I will talk about. But again, the bulk of this video will be on Star Trek Picard, since that is what we know the most about. And after Picard, I will go in the order of anticipated release date. I don't actually know when any of these shows are coming out, but so I'm guessing. So the next one after Picard I'll talk about is Star Trek Lower Decks, because I'm assuming that that will be out in August, as it has always been through the first 3 seasons, although Season 3 was a couple weeks later in August than the first 2 seasons, but it was still August. And then Strange New Worlds, I was hoping might have another May or June release, but I read that October is the anticipated release date, but I don't think anybody really knows that for sure, but I'll roll with that. I'll say it's October and hope that it's actually June, because I would love for it to be sooner, because what we're looking at here is Star Trek Picard, and then months and months with no Star Trek, and then all of a sudden all 4 of the other ones crammed together at the end of the year, or at least the latter half of the year, from August onward. So Strange New Worlds anticipated October, so that will be the next one I talk about. And then Discovery, I'm gonna guess November, so there will be some crossover between the 2, which happened last year too. Star Trek does it. It's not a big deal. And then Prodigy, I'm gonna say either December 2023 or possibly falling into 2024, but for real, I have no idea. So these are just anticipated dates. So that is the order that I am going to go in. Now, buckle up. Oh wait, there are no seatbelts on the Enterprise, but just get ready. Let us start with Star Trek Picard Season 3. All right, let's start with Star Trek Picard Season 3, which, as I mentioned, is about a week away from Episode 1. So, if you are familiar with my channel, you are probably expecting me to talk about how I am expecting it to suck, how I'm not looking forward to it, how I would be shocked if it's even mediocre, and all those sorts of things. I've already kind of talked about that a little bit. However, before I dive into all of that stuff, I'm actually going to start with a more objective look at what we know, and I'll even throw in some things that I do like from the trailers. So I'll start with neutral to positive stuff, and then get into my concerns for the upcoming season after that. So here's what we know. We know, of course, that all of the original cast members are coming back, save Denise Crosby and Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton has already appeared in Star Trek Picard last season in a scene that I'm trying to block out because it is so dumb and makes no sense. But that's a whole other topic. um, and we know a little tiny bit about each of the characters. Of course, we know about Riker and Troy because they were in season 1 of Picard, and we know that Worf apparently is a pacifist now. We don't know what he's been doing. So at the end of Deep Space Nine, he went to be the ambassador for the Federation ambassador to Kronos, but then Star Trek. Oh, what fucking movie was that? Nemesis was after that, and he was back in Starfleet. So who knows? Apparently, there's some canon novel that said he was the captain of the Enterprise E at a certain point. I don't know. So we know he's a pacifist now, apparently. So that's interesting. I wonder what that's like and why he is that way. Geordi is a Commodore. I could only hope and wish and dream that they would finally explain the deal with Commodores. Like, why did they disappear all through the whole Next Generation Deep Space Nine Voyager era? There were no Commodores, only Admirals. And what the hell is the difference between Commodores and Admirals? What's the distinction? How does one become a Commodore versus an Admiral? I would love some sort of explanation to this, but I'm sure we won't get one. It's just a mystery. All throughout Star Trek, it's just a mystery. So we know he has, I think, 2 daughters, both played by his real life daughters, LeVar Burton's real life daughters. One of them is serving aboard the Titan A, which is the ship that most of the action seems to be taking place on, but I'll get to that in just a second. So Dr. Crusher making her first live action appearance since Nemesis. I mean, she did do that voiceover for Prodigy, or Gaze McFadden did. I think she was the only ones who did like actual recordings for that episode. You know what I'm talking about if you saw Prodigy. And she appears to be in some kind of trouble. She's reaching out to Picard, but she's telling him, don't trust anyone. We saw that in the latest trailer. Apparently, she's the captain of a ship. I don't think that's round one. So what was that one called from All Good Things? I don't think that's the ship she's the captain of. And I don't think they're going to say that she and Picard got divorced as they did in that episode. But she has been presumably out of contact with Picard for a while, and now she's reaching out to him because there's some sort of danger. And she seems to be the catalyst for the plot. She seems to be pretty important for the story. So, very, very curious about that. Now, we also know that 2 previous villainous characters are returning. Lore, played by Brent Spiner, and just said, fuck the makeup. Like, I'm not doing the makeup again. It makes me look old. So I wonder if there will be an in-universe explanation for why he looks that way, or if they're just going to pretend that he just looks like he's supposed to look. I think they should just pretend he looks like he's supposed to look. We don't need an in-universe explanation. And Moriarty, given how he ended in Ship in a Bottle, I'm curious how they're going to explain how he came back. I'm going to get to these 2 characters when I get to the section where I talk about how I'm not expecting it to be any good, because I don't expect that these 2 characters are going to be any good, but we'll get to that later. So, as mentioned, the action will be taking place on the Titan A with 7 of 9 being the first officer. So this was my little reference at the beginning of the video, is that last we saw her, she wasn't allowed in Starfleet. Now, not only has she been allowed in Starfleet, but she is accelerated all the way up to first officer. So obviously there is some kind of time jump here. We don't know how long. So we'll see about that. And there's the captain of the Titan A, we didn't see until the most recent trailer. I recognize the dude. Apparently, he's known for being in the 12 Monkeys TV show. And I looked him up on Wikipedia to see where I might recognize him from, and I didn't I have not watched any of the things he's ever been in, so I don't know why he looks familiar to me. But anyway, that dude, um, I think he's basically a red shirt captain. Like, I do not think he's long for this world. I expect him to die immediately because we only see him in that one scene in the trailer, and there's other scenes in the trailer where we see Picard sitting in the captain's chair. Very suspicious. I think that's a red shirt captain, meaning he's a captain, but he's going to die immediately. So don't expect that dude to be long for the world. We don't know a whole lot about what the plot is. We know it's going to take place largely on the Titan A. We know that the Enterprise F makes an appearance. We don't know who's on the Enterprise F, if it's anybody that we know on the Enterprise F. We know that the villain is going to be played by Amanda Plummer, following in her father's footsteps. Her father, Christopher Plummer, who played the villain in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. Amanda Plummer is playing the villain here. And we know nothing about this character, except she commands these like creepy dudes with masks or whatever. And we don't know really anything about who she is and what her motivation is. But here's one of the things that I do like about the trailer is that I love Amanda Plummer, and I think that she will make an excellent villain. I've been watching. Amanda Plummer has been around for a long time. I remember she was in an episode of what's that show? The one that Mark reviewed recently. I'm blanking on the name of it. It's like the Twilight Zone, but not the Twilight Zone. She was in an episode of that. I can't believe I'm having a brain fart on the name of that show, but she was on that. I remember back in the day, she was a God, I don't even remember. She was a bunch of things, but I've always admired her as an actress, and I think she will be an amazing villain. And I'm really glad that she is stepping into her father's shoes in that regard. So that is a positive thing that hopefully we will be able to look forward to. What else? Oh, Raffi. I didn't mention Raffi. The only other character from the first two seasons of Picard, besides Picard and Seven of Nine, who will be carrying forward. So basically, she's the only original character to Star Trek Picard who we will see. Not really sure what her role is. We see her having a little spar with Worf. I thought Worf was a pacifist, but I guess he still practices fighting. I don't know what was happening there. So, be interesting. So that is about all I can think of as far as what we know. The details of the plot are still very fuzzy. So really looking forward to seeing what they're doing here. Okay, so let me get into now why I am not super excited about this season. Well, I'll start with this. I'll start with another positive. The most recent trailer is really exciting. It is really good. I think it's a better trailer than what we got for season 2. I remember the season 2 trailers did not make me excited. I was like, I don't know about this. But the most recent season 3 trailer is a good trailer. However, what it will boil down to, what it will always boil down to for this show, is the writing. And a good trailer can definitely very easily mask terrible writing. There is a lot of room for there to be terrible writing in this show, and they could still put out a good trailer that I liked and gets me excited for the show. So that's what it will always boil down to, is the writing. And I don't have a lot of faith in the writing because the writing was really bad in season 2, and there was no break between the two for the writers and the showrunners to take in feedback from the fans who widely hated and panned season 2, or at best thought it was mediocre. They didn't get to take in that feedback and correct their mistakes. So they probably wrote season 2 like, yes, this is a winner. Let's do the same thing in season 3. And that's what I think is going to happen. And that's why I'm not super excited, because it is all about the writing. Even that wonderful casting of Amanda Plummer as the villain could be undone with bad writing. very easily. Bringing back all of the characters from my favorite Star Trek show, The Next Generation, bringing them all back can be undone by bad writing. In fact, it already has been with all the films. I didn't like any of the films, and that includes First Contact. In fact, Generation is probably the only one I liked at all, and that's probably because I ate some mushrooms when I saw it, and so I don't know. I like Generations when I saw it, but I didn't like any of the other ones, even First Contact. I think First Contact is vastly overrated, which I've talked about before on this channel. And Insurrection, I don't remember, but I know it wasn't good. And Nemesis was terrible. So just because you bring back all of my favorite characters together, that doesn't make it good if you have bad writing. So I'm kind of anticipating the bad writing because season 2 was so awful in that department. And now back to Lore and Moriarty. I honestly think that there's very little chance, almost a 0% chance, maybe a 0.1% chance that they belong in this season. That I'm going to look back at this and say, oh yes, it totally makes sense for them to be here. They weren't just thrown in there just for, oh, look at this, it's Brent Spiner, he's playing Lore. Ooh, oh, look, Moriarty, remember Moriarty? Ooh, he was so evil, everybody hated him. Ooh, he's back, look at that, look at that. It just kind of shoehorned in without any real reason for them being there. I think there's like a 99.99% chance that that is the case. I don't see how it's possible that they belong there. So the only question is, will that ruin the whole season, or will it just be a thing that I have to forgive and look past and be able to look at the rest of the season, which is well written? And I mean, that just sounds ridiculous coming out of my mouth, just thinking how bad the writing was in season 2. But let's just, a best case scenario, season 3 is overall well written, but I still can't possibly see how Moriarty and Lore aren't just shoehorned in because they're not the villains. The villain is Amanda Plummer. So I don't know. I think they're going to have some weak sauce explanation for how Lore is put back together and how Moriarty is back. But we'll see. We'll see what they do with it. I just am not anticipating anything great with that. So that's, I don't really know what else to say. It's just basically the writing. See, I will just hope for the best. As I said, I will be reviewing it weekly, so you can see if I think they were able to pull it off or not. Okay, I think I've said enough on Picard. As I warned you at the beginning, this would take up the bulk of the time of this video. Now let's go ahead and give my thoughts quickly on the other 4 Star Trek shows coming out in 2023 or possibly into 2024. All right, now let's talk about Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4, which, as I said earlier, I am guessing will be out in August 2023, but who knows for sure. So we actually know virtually nothing about the storyline of Season 4, other than we can extrapolate from the hanging threads from Season 3. But other than that, I haven't heard shit. I've heard more about the crossover between Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds than I have about what's actually on Lower Decks. So I'll get into that crossover when I get into Strange New Worlds, because that's going to be on that show. So let me just kind of talk about some of the hanging threads out there. So we've got the, what was it, Bradford Boimler, the evil Boimler, who... Bradford Boimler is our Boimler. Sorry, William Boimler. It's been a few months. Give me some slack here. I think it's William Boimler, who's the evil Boimler, who has joined Section 31. So we're gonna get a Section 31 storyline, and I don't want to see Dr. Bashir anywhere near it, but we might. I don't know. Although it would be cool to get a cameo from Alexander Sigdig. I don't like this Dr. Bashir being like the head of Section 31 nonsense. Anyways, so we know that's coming. That I'm interested in. What I'm less interested in is Peanut Hamper teaming up with the Jeffrey Combs super robot. I do love Jeffrey Combs, so he could maybe, outweigh the peanut hamper stuff and how I hate peanut hamper. So it could be okay. We'll see about that. And I wonder if Badgie's going to be involved with them or Badgie's going to be doing his own thing. We saw in the post-credit scene, a rare Star Trek post-credit scene, that Badgie is still out there. I know that my brother does not love Badgie, but Badgie's fine. I'm not a huge fan of him, but it's fine. So we'll see about that. And also, T'Lyn finally joined the crew of the Cerritos after her appearance at the end of season 2. She sits out all of season 3 and comes in at the very end of season 3. I'm really looking forward to seeing how she fits in with the lower deck crews. I hope that she's a main character. I wanted her to be a main character since we first saw her, so that is something that I am excited about. Other than that, I don't know what kind of crossovers they have in store. Last year we did the Deep Space Nine. What kind of cameos we're going to have in store. What kind of jokes we're going to have, make poking fun at obscure episodes. But I hope that they do continue doing all the things that they did, but get even better at it. So if they were to continue the trajectory that they've been on, season 4 should be really, really good. I listed it as one of the 5 shows that I'm most excited for in 2023. So hopefully it doesn't disappoint me. Watch Picard is going to be my favorite Star Trek. Like, I'm going to love Picard, and Lower Deck's going to be disappointing. Watch. You never know. You never know. I don't actually expect that to happen, but we'll see. I'm really, really looking forward to this season. And that's really all I have to say, because as I said, we just don't know much of anything other than the hanging threads from season 3. So let me go ahead and move on to the next Star Trek show, Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Okay, Star Trek Strange New Worlds. As I said, I read somewhere that it is supposedly coming out in October, but I have no idea how true that is. I'm still pulling for an earlier release date. So what we know about Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2 is that Anson Mount keeps doing these interviews where he's really pushing just how insane Season 2 is going to be, and just how it really, really pushes the boundaries of Star Trek, but stays true to Star Trek at the same time. That they're really just getting out there, just crazy out there. And he even said in one interview that I saw that, that Lower Decks a crossover episode, that's not even close to the craziest episode we're doing. Like, there's going to be crazy shit that's out there. So they're taking a lot of risks. He said they're swinging for the fences. So if this is true, if they're really taking a lot of risks, then I think there's going to be a chance that some of the risks that they take aren't going to land. But hopefully most of the risks that they take pan out for them and make it for a really good season. But honestly, I have no freaking idea. I'm just really curious what all these crazy things are supposedly doing. Part of me is just like expecting it to really not be all that crazy, and he's just exaggerating, and I'm gonna watch it and like go, what the fuck was he talking about? It wasn't that crazy. But I don't know. Like, we will definitely have to wait and see on that. So I should mention the crossover from Lower Decks. So all signs point to Jack Quaid and Tawny Newsome appearing in live action. Anson Mount said at Comic-Con that he was going to get to be animated, but then after that, what I heard was that he was mistaken. He's not animated, so I'm unclear on whether he's going to be animated or not, but most of the sources that I've seen point to him not being that, and it's just simply Tawny Newsome and Jack Quaid being in person. We don't know what the context was. I saw a YouTube video where they were saying that they got from some source somewhere that it's not going to be time travel and it's not going to be a holodeck. Then what the fuck is it going to be then? If it's not, those are the two obvious things. I thought they might do a "These are the voyages" type deal, but kind of make fun of "These are the voyages." I think that would be good, but um, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing here. If it's neither, I don't know how reliable that information is. So that could be totally wrong, and it actually is a holodeck. But if it wasn't a holodeck or time travel, then I don't understand how the crossover is happening. But guess we'll wait and see until freaking October, apparently. Oh, so far away. Okay, so we also know that Captain James T. Kirk will return. This time it'll be the Prime Universe, Prime Timeline Captain Kirk, who was a lieutenant on the Farragut. So we'll probably see the first meeting between him and Spock. I don't want them to make a huge deal about this. Like, I just want just be in one episode and let's not push canon too much. They've already pushed canon enough. I don't want them to push canon with Kirk. They're also going to push canon with Sybok, assuming that they do follow up on that cliffhanger ending of one of the episodes. So we will probably see Sybok, and I would love to see Captain Angel again. That episode doesn't get as much love as I think it deserves, but I would love to see Captain Angel again. So I don't know. I don't know. That's pretty much all I got on Strange New World season 2. I hope the October date is wrong and it comes out in June because I cannot wait for season 2. All right, now let's go ahead and move on to Discovery season 5. All right, so Discovery season 5 supposedly will be out by the end of 2023. So I am guessing November if Strange New Worlds is October. So we did get a teaser trailer for it at Comic-Con last year, and that teaser trailer did not do anything to get me excited about the show. It appears to be some kind of Indiana Jones adventure thing, and I can only hope that there is more to it than that it's not just a season-long arc about an Indiana Jones type adventure, because that would be disappointing after a really well written and I think overall really strong season 4. The biggest issue with season 4 is that it had too many episodes, but that is a positive for season 5. So apparently it is confirmed that it will only be 10 episodes, which in my opinion is what all the seasons of Discovery should have been, because all of them had too many episodes. So hopefully they will have it tell a more compact story. They will be able to tell a good story without too much extraneous nonsense as they have had in previous seasons. I just hope that it's not all about this Indiana Jones adventure thing and it's just a season long arc. I would love to see Discovery do more of the Strange New Worlds model, where it is a little more episodic with a running thread for the characters. But I don't know. I think Discovery think the showrunners probably think that they're just stuck with that format of the serialized format. So I don't know. I hope there's more to it than the Indiana Jones stuff. I read an article that it was actually written last year, so I don't know how accurate it is, but that they had heard that there was going to be some time travel elements again. So, I don't know. Time travel sounds more interesting to me than Indiana Jones stuff. So maybe it's both of them. Maybe they'll travel back in time and do Indiana Jones. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's happening in Discovery season 5. No clue. I hope that it is a good follow up to what was, in my opinion, a really strongly written season 4. Other than the fact that there were too many episodes. When it was good, it was really, really, really good. I think it was the best season of Discovery. So I know I keep saying this for every show, but we'll see. Because, yeah, I just don't know. I would still hope that they would explore the Gamma Quadrant and what that's like in the 32nd century, because we saw Changeling in season 4, and it was such a tease. I want more. I want more. There's so many corners of the galaxy that they could explore and show us what has happened to it. in the 32nd century, how great would it be to focus on the Gamma Quadrant? How great would that be? It doesn't seem like that's what they're doing, but I would love that so much if that's what they did. All right. Again, I know very little about season 5 of Discovery, so that's all I have to say about that. Let's move now to the final Star Trek show that I have to talk about. All right, let's get into Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, Part 1. If they're going to do it the same way, I don't want them to do it that same way, but apparently that's like how Nickelodeon does shows, where they're going to do like 5 episodes and another 5 episodes and another 10 episodes. And at this rate, Season 3 should be out by 2028. This is the rate that they're going. Yeah, I don't know. But it's a mystery whether it will be out by the end of the year or whether it will wait until next year. But in any case, I actually am interested in seeing season 2. I know I've been a outspoken critic of season 1, largely because it was billed as a family show, was billed as a show that was for children as well as adult Trekkies, and I thought they inconsistently delivered on that. In fact, the first 10 episodes of the season, they did not deliver on that at all, and then the final 10 episodes of the season, they inconsistently delivered on that. And I also view this as the most overrated Star Trek show on. Everyone else is singing its praises. I am not. Even my brother, I will depart from my brother on this. I think he's overrating it too. I think it's overrated, particularly the finale. There were some really touching and heartfelt things in the finale that I really did like. Really great character moments, really great character development. But it's not a great episode because it's undercut by the phony cliffhanger and some of the bad writing, and so I don't know. Like, and it being a family show is not an excuse for it. So I think I gave it a 7 or an 8, maybe. I think it's still a pretty good finale, but everyone else is acting like it's one of the best finales in all of Star Trek, and I don't think it's anywhere remotely close to that. I think an 8. I think it's still pretty good though. But here's why I have interest in season 2, because I think there's a real opportunity here to kind of work out a lot of the kinks from season 1 and find itself as a show that really is for both little children, young kids who are coming to Star Trek for the first time, and seasoned adult Trekkies, because that's what it was supposed to be. And I think it has a chance to actually become that more consistently. And furthermore, it does look like it is going to evolve into what it really should have been in season 1, which is a true sequel to Star Trek Voyager. And we're going to actually have our crew working with the real Janeway rather than holographic Janeway. Now, I gotta think that there is going to be some version of a holographic Janeway in season 2, but we don't really need it because we have the real deal. And I think we're going to see Voyager A. That's the other thing that kind of annoyed me about the ending of Prodigy, is that she's like, oh, we're not going on this ship. We're going on some other ship that I'm not going to tell you about until season 2. Just fucking say it. We all know it's the Voyager A. Come on. So I don't know. But anyway, no, I love that they're going to do like Star Trek 3, The Search for Chakotay. I love that we're doing kind of a sequel to Voyager. So I have a lot of hope for season 2. I think it has a real chance of wiping away the bad taste in my mouth from large portions of season 1. All right, so that actually is everything. I have covered all 5 of the Star Trek shows. There are 5 of them. Can you believe that? 5 of them. This is peak Star Trek. Star Trek is at its best right now. I know there are a certain section of people who think that Alex Kurtzman has ruined Star Trek. Fuck those people. Star Trek is fantastic right now, even when it's mediocre or even when it's bad. Star Trek overall is fantastic. And so I'm very, very happy to be a Trekkie right now. All right. That is all I have. Please join me weekly starting next Thursday, the 16th of February, where I will be reviewing every episode of Star Trek Picard until it sucks so bad that I have to give up. And hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully I make it through to the end of the season. So let's keep our fingers crossed. All right. I will see you then. Please subscribe if you have not already. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.